Previously on TyTalks. Time to bring out that calculator again. All right, we've got $235,120 in loans that we need to take out, and that'll be at 6.53% over 10 years, and we've got, oh, fuck off. Hey there, guys. My name is Tyler, and welcome back to another TyTalk. It's me being rambunctious. A couple things up front. If you like this video, don't forget to do the things down below. And I do want to warn you that this video will once again be very heavy in math. I'm going to be showing you my idea of how to destroy and rebuild our educational system, particularly our higher education system, in order to make it more affordable, give the professors a pay boost, and increase the quality of education, which will, in theory, make our country better. The ideas discussed in this video, if you put them into practice, will likely cause the banks to lose a shit ton of money, so I want to say this now. I have no interest in ending my life, and if I die of anything that is not natural causes, assume they've gotten to me. No, I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs, and no history of any mental disorders. I mean, maybe a little one, but no. But for now, let's rebuild the fallen empire that is the United States educational system. Let's start with some numbers. The average cost of getting a 4-year degree is $300,000. This comes out to be $75,000 a year. The amount of credits that you need for that degree is 120. This comes out to a total of $2,500 per credit. Now, when people graduate college, they have an average student loan debt of $38,375. As mentioned in a previous video, the current student loan debt is $1.7 trillion. So what if it only costs $6,000 a year instead of $75,000? What if it only costs $24,000 instead of $300,000 for your degree? What if I can get it even lower by eliminating the general education requirement for your degree and shortening the time needed to get a degree? These Gen Ed courses usually make up around 40% of your degree. So figure, out of 120 credits, 48 of them are general education. As a guy who has a degree in accounting, I'm not exactly sure why I had to take classes in English literature or early childhood education. But let's say I didn't take those courses and I've eliminated 48 credits from my degree. That's 120 grand that I just saved. However, that's not the main idea behind my concept. My goal is, in fact, to have people being more educated because, like how I always say, that will lead to better outcomes. But, like how I said in my previous video, a degree in puppetry is not exactly an education. This is not something that will make you into a better person. It's a scam and a waste of money. If you want to go play with puppets, go for it. I will not stop you. I have no problems with artists or the arts, but you do not need a degree in order to prove how knowledgeable you are in that field. That's why I advocate for eliminating a lot of offered degrees. Degrees like the Individualized and Interdisciplinary Studies program offered by UConn. What exactly do you learn in it? Apparently, whatever you want, and they'll just give you a degree in it. You know, for $58,000 a year. Okay, without further ado, this might sound a little crazy, but stick with me and you'll see how it all works out. The best way to describe this idea is a market-driven utilitarian approach to education. I believe that one of the state's functions in society is to protect and promote what leads to a thriving society. To protect and promote what makes us better. So I already showed you what makes us better. You can always watch that video right after this one. But that is what one of the state's functions should be. So I know I might lose some of you here, but again, stay with me. I believe that higher education should have a public option. However, it needs to be driven by the market. Now, here's my idea. The state buys a piece of property. Yes, I know that means it's taxpayer funded. The state buys a piece of property and constructs a small college campus. This will likely only have 10 classrooms that can fit at most 50 students, so 500 total students. We can always expand the school later, but it has classrooms, and that's about it. These classrooms will then be rented by the professors who are teaching at these schools. They will rent it out based on a monthly fee that will cover the costs of maintaining and overseeing the building and accreditation. The professors will then charge whatever it is that they would like per credit hour. And that total, when all of the credits are added up, is the cost of getting your degree. So let's break down the math. Let's say that this building plus admin costs $1 million per year. That means that the school needs to make $125,000 a month to break even. I did 1 million divided by the 8 months that the school will be in service as opposed to all 12. So you have 4 months in the fall and then 4 months in the spring. This can obviously be changed, but let's just stick with this for now. So the school needs to rent out these classrooms for $125,000 a month. There are 10 classrooms, so each classroom needs to make $12,500 a month. That is our break-even point. So, what can each classroom produce? If you take a look at this schedule that I made, you can count the individual colors. Each course represents a 3-credit course. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they all share colors at the same time to show that they are 1-hour courses 3 times a week. Tuesday and Thursday are 1.5-hour courses twice a week. This schedule shows that if the school is open for 10 hours from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., you will have 16 individual classes that can be taught per week, and that means you can have up to 16 professors paying rent. So, to break even with 16 professors, you will need to charge each one of them $781.25 a month. Now, yes, I can already hear you being mad at me that people are losing money to do their job. But let's run through some examples. Let's say you are the 7 a.m. professor on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You charge each student $200 per credit hour per semester. So one student pays you $600 for the semester. That's 3 credits in the class times $200. Obviously, one student isn't enough, but now you have 50 students in your class. 50 times 600 is $30,000 to teach 3 hours a week for 16 weeks. Over the semester, you will teach a total of 48 hours, and that's for $30,000 or $625 an hour. Now, we're going to ignore taxes for now, and again, just talk about the raw numbers. 4 months of rent is $3,125, and you make $30,000. That leaves you with $26,875 to teach 48 hours. Over the year, you will earn $53,750 once your rent has been paid to the school. Now, I can hear some of you complaining about how low $53,000 is for a professor, but you may have forgotten that that total is only to teach 3 hours a week for 8 months. How many professors only teach 1 class? If you teach 2 classes, your pay doubles to $107,000 for the year. Let's double check the math really quick. $30,000 per semester for 1 class. Now you are teaching 2, so that turns into $60,000 per semester. Times that by 2 semesters, and you're now up to $120,000 minus the rent of $781.25 times 2, which is $1,562.50. And now that times by the 8 months, and you get $12,500 or $120,000 minus $12,500 to leave you with $107,500. Now, hopefully I did all that math right, because I did say I was an accountant. And if I'm wrong, then I apologize for being wrong. And I am kind of such an asshole for that. So sorry. But You have now earned $107,500 to teach 6 hours a week. If you had a standard work week, you still have 34 hours of labor to give. So for fun, let's raise it up to teaching 21 hours a week, 7 hours a day for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's $210,000 total per semester, minus rent of $21,875, and that leaves you with $188,125 to teach 21 hours a week for one semester. Double it for both semesters, and that gets you $376,250 a year. So we know that the college is paid for by the rent from the professors, and the professors are earning a very nice paycheck. But what about the students? The average credit load for a full-time student is 15 credit hours a week. So let's run with that, even though, in fairness, this model is not designed specifically to be a full-time college. It can be, but it's not specifically designed for that. It's meant to offer you a chance at an affordable education without needing to be a full-time student. But 15 credit hours per week. If it's $200 per credit hour per semester, taking 15 credit hours for the semester is $3,000. That means 1 year is $6,000, and a full-time 4-year degree at 30 credits a year to get your 120 credit hours is $24,000. That is less than both of the out-of-state and New England regional tuition charges for 1 year at UConn. In-state barely beats it. But lest we forget, we are comparing the full tuition cost of a 4-year degree versus 1 year at a state school. Remember from earlier when I mentioned cutting out the gen ed classes. All right, well, at $200 per credit hour, let's take 120 credit hours and minus out our gen ed classes of 48 credits to get 72 credit hours. Let's now multiply that by $200, and your education to get a core class-centric degree is now $14,400. So, why are people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars again? Now, before I go on to finish with my main point, I can hear your objections with you now telling me about the benefits of community college and that I'm trying to reinvent the wheel when community college already exists. Yes, community colleges exist, and they are cheaper than traditional colleges with the intention to bring more education to more people, just like my model. But the main differences are that community colleges are subsidized by the taxpayer through increasing property taxes. So the courses are made artificially cheaper by taxes covering part of their expenses. My model is paid directly by the students and not the taxpayers. The state can always charge more than is needed to maintain the building to lower the tax burden on the area that the college is located in. So instead of the town, city, or state bearing the burden of paying for the school can help pay for the town, city, and state by bringing in additional revenue. Also, these colleges are nonprofit just like mine, but their professors are paid around $60,000 a year for 15 credits per semester. At my college, they would be paid $300,000 for the year, and the taxpayer doesn't need to cover the cost of running the building and admin. Not to mention the fact that community colleges mostly only offer associate's degrees as opposed to bachelor's. This is basically saying they offer 2-year degrees versus 4-year degrees, and 2-year associate degrees are typically less involved, and it's a more basic understanding of the topic as opposed to a 4-year bachelor's degree. But wait a second, why a degree? Why do I want one? What is so important about having a degree? Well, having a degree does have meaning still. It is supposed to tell people that you have studied this topic for 4 years and you have a certain level of skill now. That using our standards, we know that a person who has studied this topic for 4 years will come out with X level of competency. But what happens if you went and got a degree in gender studies or lesbian dance theory? What is that degree supposed to tell people? You went and got a degree in puppetry. What is that supposed to tell people? Why do you have this degree? Why did you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this degree. Do you all know Randy Feltface?
Jack, what do you do in the daytimes?
I work at Starbucks.
You work at Starbucks? You make a lot of coffee. Did you want to do that when you were a little kid? What was your dream?
I want to work in film.
You want to work in film? What's a yes? What do you want to do? What do you want to do in film? Which department?
Cinematography.
You want to be a cinematographer? Director of DP? You want to be a DP? Yeah? Do you have a camera?
Not like a professional one.
Not a professional one? There's one at the back of the room over there. If you want to go pick it up, you can just fucking, I mean, you probably stop enjoying the show, but you could just be a roving camera. If you ever feel, just go back there, take it off the tripod and fucking go nuts. Shoot this show, come up on stage, get right in my fucking face. Let's make a music video. Seriously. Do you wanna? Hey?
I'm good.
Oh no, that was your big break. I would have cut it and put it on the internet and been like, oh, Jack, director extraordinaire, and everyone would have been like, oh my God, how do I hire you for my jobs? And now you're just gonna keep working at Starbucks.
This little guy is operated by Heath MacIver, and he started when he was just 13 years old. He's also worked on major films like The Hobbit, and also The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Best I can tell, he doesn't have a degree. He just picked it up one day. But instead, we have people going out and getting degrees in useless fields, which basically tells everyone how useless they are. Our current system is designed to keep you enslaved. Everyone needs to go to college. Well, if you know anything about supply and demand, you know that the more degrees that are out there, the less they're worth. And here we go. And when you convince everyone to go to college, you artificially inflate the demand, which increases the price of education. Then you make it easy for people to take out loans and don't disclose the full cost to them, which in turn raises your risk by giving out money more easily and to people that likely can't afford it, but you then mitigate that risk by not allowing people to discharge their debt through bankruptcy. So you're telling people you need to go into debt and you need to pay me forever for a product that doesn't even mean anything. Now, yes, this is all kind of ironic since I am indeed advocating for more education, but it just can't be in its current form. Ignoring everything that I just said, I'm a lifetime athlete with multiple bachelor degrees, and I hate how our education system is tied to sports. To think that something like this can be said. Well, we would help you get a degree in engineering, but you're just not good enough at sports ball. Or, we have seen your latest test scores and you really want to work in biosciences where you can create new cures for diseases, but you're not really athletic. And our school really cares about football, so we're going to let in subpar students that don't get real degrees. Students that study communications or sociology, because it's better to have a good football team than, an educated society. So yeah, I want people to be more educated. I want people to be smarter and therefore better. But due to redefinition, people immediately think that a degree equals educated. It doesn't anymore. My proposal allows for professors to be entrepreneurs and sell their labor at their own rates. I am for the market helping to break up the insanity that is modern education. I am tired of people being charged hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this.
Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm studying the unseen body in creative spaces, the erasure and exposure of the queer.
Hey, I'm Nina, and I studied the arts, education, and social justice.
I'm Joyce. I studied decolonial intimacies, indigenous politics of resistance.
I'm Victoria, and I
studied remembering or forgetting, navigating international conflict through collective memory.
Hi, I'm Kira and I study textiles and environmental justice.
Hi, I'm Nunyala. I'm studying living artfully, art as ritual therapy and pathways of decoloniality.
I'm Naomi and I'm studying Black political economy.
I'm Natalie and I'm studying fashion history and gender studies.
Hi, my name is Marie and my concentration is the radical disruption for survival, development in sub-Saharan Africa, and social anthropology.
Hi, I'm Ava and I study unwoman, fugitive family, relationships, and identity. The transformative Black woman.
This is absolutely where the state should step in and say, no, we're not loaning out money for these degrees. You are too high of a risk for the taxpayer. We do not promote uselessness. We will not promote things becoming worse. Higher education should be dedicated to actual education and things that will, in fact, help us become better as a society. Doctors, engineers, scientists, fields that matter. But instead, we have been told that all of us should go into debt to get a worthless degree. Why? To be their slaves. Hey there guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again so much for watching.